beloved pet that has passed? Is there something you want to tell them? Join Animal Connections and renowned pet psychic Nicole Elizabeth as she connects with your pets both living and past to deliver messages and receive answers to your questions. Here now is your host, Nicole Elizabeth.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spirit Realm Network and welcome to Animal Connections. I must apologize. I did not realize that the time had changed in Eastern time, so I am a little bit late today. So please, thank you for everyone who's hung around. For my Australian viewers, this is a bit earlier than normal. However, it is in line with Eastern time and it's 8:20 there at the moment on the 13th of March. 2025. And today I will be giving you free readings, although a little bit late for my USA viewers, but please still send your messages through. Now, for all those, if you're watching for the first time, I'll need you to pop over to the network, so spiritrealm.net, and join the chat. If you click on the three little lines, and then I think it's live TV, you'll see the general chat. Oh, Madam May Mama. Oh, I'm not going to read out what it says, but I'm going to. Yes, sorry, guys, for everyone who was watching. I didn't realize, and it wasn't until the producer messaged me and was wondering where I was. And I'm like, no, I'm not going live for another hour. I'm fine. And I was not fine. So sorry, guys, but I do have your chat up. And if you are watching on other platforms, please pop over to the Spirit Realm Network and interact with me in the chat. And then I can do some free readings for you. Now, while we're waiting for people to come over and realize that I'm live and I'm just a little bit late today, I do actually have some questions. So for all my viewers that have been following me, and I must actually point out that last week I wasn't online because where I was in Australia, in Queensland, there was a cyclone. Cyclone Alfred was going to touch down in the city, southeast Queensland, which had not been a thing since 1990. The last cyclone that hit the area was in 1990. And so it was a really big deal where we lived. We actually aren't really set up for cyclones, and the whole city shut down. So it was a lot going on. There was a lot of winds, there was destruction. It did get downgraded to a tropical storm. However, there's still power out now. So it's still not 100%. Luckily, where I am, I'm okay. But I did have to control a lot of moving parts because of what was happening. So that's why I wasn't on last week. And to be honest, the internet wouldn't have held out anyway. So just want to apologize and explain why I wasn't there last week. And while I am waiting for people to jump online, I will actually go, because I did have someone message me some questions. And so everyone who has been following me knows the story of Madam May. Madam May, the most beautiful cat in the world, who was part Maine Coon, who had recently transitioned to spirit and had a lot of, I'm going to say family, a lot of people in her, what did we call it? Coven. It was what she called it, her coven. And so a lot of people supporting Madam May's mama. And there was this beautiful little girl called Camille, and she should be watching the show now because I know she's all set up. And if not, she can watch on the replay. And she actually sent me some questions, which I want to answer for her because it will relate to a lot of people. And it will give everyone time who's watching on Facebook or any other platform to pop over to the Spirit Realm Network and interact with me in the chat. So questions for Madam May's mama and for Madam May. And I guess it is a reading, so, that's good. Everyone tune in. For Camille, the beautiful little girl that loved Madam May as if Madam May was her own. So one question that Camille had is, when animals are in spirit, do we just walk around and bump into them? Do they bump into us? Do they, walk through us? How does that work? I feel that she wants to know, what happens, because if you're standing there, does someone go through us, that sort of thing. So what I can explain for Camille through, I guess, Madam May's eyes would be, they are actually quite respectful of us as a person. And every time they need to, and this goes for humans or animals, it's all permission based. If without getting too, because it's a whole can of worms, this topic, but basically need to permission. So they're not walking around to the point where they'll just run through us or bump into us without knowing. Even though our realms are kind of overlaid, they are still respectful of our space and everything. If you know, like trans mediums, it's an invitation, it's permission to enter the body. When there's what I call overlays in an animal, where you see one animal through another animal, like you'd be looking at an animal and all of a sudden you'll see a past animal. I call that an overlay. It's kind of like they're not possessed, they're allowed to show through that animal. That again is permission based. So they don't bump into us, but they will rub up against us in hope that you'll feel them. Now, some people will feel the actual action of rubbing up against us. Some people may feel tingles. Some people may feel goosebumps. There's all different sensations, and it takes them a lot to be able to do that. So when we acknowledge it, it kind of gives them more energy to be able to do more signs. But they are very respectful of our space. They don't just walk through us and bump into us, because they are very aware of where we are. So I hope that answers that question for Camille. I'm just going to check the chat just to see if we've got anyone coming through. I think I threw everyone off with the timing. Yes. Janelle. Okay, so while I'm answering some more questions, Janelle, if you could pop in the chat, and there is actually a plus sign in a circle, and you can pop a photo of your pet if you like. If you want to have if you want me to have I'll just read another message that came threw me off. If you'd like to pop in your chat what question you have for me. If it relates to a pet, please pop a photo of your pet in the chat, just so everyone can see. We don't need it. If you don't have a photo, that's totally fine. Just pop your pet's name, whether they're a cat or dog, living or past, that type thing, and ask your question, and then I'll be able to answer that. And also, guys, Rochelle's just made a comment on the chat that she has some great overlay shots on her page. So for my regular followers, they'll know who Rochelle is. And for Stewie, so Stewie is a little pup that came through and has actually come through for another medium on this program, or this network, I should say. And Camille is here. Okay, lovely. Hi, Camille. So you can actually see photos. If you go to Rochelle's page, you can see photos of overlays, and you can see lots of signs. And actually, Rochelle has a lot of great signs captured in photo form. So that's a good way to see what it actually looks like. So Rochelle, can you pop your page on your Facebook page, if you're comfortable with that, in the chat, so people can actually go and have a look. So then it's separate to me. It's not just me saying, hey, this is what happens. They can see it for themselves. You can even pop some photos in this chat if you like. That way people can see it on the show. So Camille is here, and Camille did have another question as well. So while I'm waiting for Janelle to pop her question in the chat and possibly a photo of your pet, but if you don't have it, it's totally fine. Lovely. So everyone, Rochelle's popped the link in the chat, so go have a look. She actually has photographic evidence of signs, overlays, everything. It's amazing. Now, back to Camille's question. I love this. So Camille has actually gotten down on her hands and knees like a cat and visited Madame May May's favorite spots, softly calling her, wondering if she'll sense her presence. And the other question that Camille has is, do you have any tips for Camille to recognize Madame May May's spirit? So I'm going to answer those questions for you. When you are connected with a pet, and this includes Madame May May because you're connected to Madame May May, so the thought of you calling her, you don't even have to speak the words, the thought of Madame May May. Now, her energy will be in her favorite spots still. That's never going to leave. And you will find that she sat in places in the home that had really good energy, because animals are really good at finding those spots. It's good energy. It recharges them. It renews them. And it's just a beautiful spot for them to sit. And that's why they all have their favorite spot. It's a really good energy spot for them. So if you sit in the same places that May May sits, it's a physical it's something physical for our minds to grab hold of, to be able to call her in our mind to that spot. Now, technically, you don't need it. you can just call her, because the minute you send that thought out to her, she gets it. And I can tell you, because I've seen this, pets have shown me, they'll be where they are and they've physically heard their owners call their name through thought, and they turn around and they come back to the owner. So all you do, you just have to call them by thought. And when we call spirit forward, it's by, we maybe say it with our words, but it's actually by thought. It's by the intention of bringing them close to us, bring them into our energy field. And that's how you bring her close to you. So it's probably a good idea that you are in those spots, because our mind finds it easier to deal with having something physical to touch and see, to be able to make the connection in our mind. Now, there's also a thing called psychometry, when you touch an item and it holds energy. So you're essentially kind of doing psychometry with your whole body when you're sitting in her spots. Now, I know that's quite a big thing, and I'll explain to Madame May's mama all about that, but I have a feeling she already knows about that. But it's good for your mind to make that connection. So sit in the places. To call her, just merely send the thought out. And ways to recognize that she's there. You'll probably hear me say this quite a lot to a lot of owners, is the air gets thicker. So you can practice this. So you and Madame May's mama can actually practice this right now. So you can have someone stand behind you, completely silent. You shut your eyes, and you have the person, they have to be completely silent, stand behind you, but not too close, and then just lean to a side. Now, all you're going to do is just close your eyes, and you're going to feel their energy. Their energy will move, and you'll be able to feel what side they're moving to. And the only way I can explain it is that the air gets thicker. Sometimes I'll feel someone walk up behind me, and it's the same feeling as if when you're here and someone walks up behind you, you just know there's someone there, because the energy sort of walks before them. So those are the sorts of things that you can look out for. Also, another one for you, which I feel like this one's going to be a lot easier, is when you're not thinking of Madame May, and then you have the thought of her, because she's sending a thought to you. So you can also, I feel like May's tapping me on the head going, but how is she going to know that it's me, even though she thinks of it? We think here. We see, we think, we have our thoughts all here. Like we kind of like, people go, the movie in front of my eyes, the third eye, it's all here. But when an animal connects with us, you can hear it in different parts of your, like it'll come from behind, it'll come by the side, it'll be a knowing, it'll be further out here. It's different to where we think. And that's how you make the distinction. It's not your thought, it's their thought. And it's coming through to you. So I hope that makes sense. It's kind of like a lot of, and honestly, it's just, that's all it is. That's how we receive messages. So that's something that Camille can do. And because she is younger, it's actually easier for you. I'm just going to give you that little tip. As a child or as someone who's younger, it's so much easier than when you're an adult, because it just is, and it's just normal. And if you're already having those thoughts and feelings to connect with her, then it is so. So I would rely on that. Okay, now we've got some messages coming through. So Madame May's mama, please message me in the chat to see if Camille understands that, or if I need to break it down a little further or explain it in a different way. So, but hello, Camille, and thank you for joining, and thank you for caring for Madame May. She would love that. Okay. So Janelle, we have Lady. Oh, so everyone, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. Is this a puppy photo? She looks like a puppy. That's so beautiful. So everyone who's watching by Facebook or on the website, please have a look at the chat, because Lady is beautiful. I'm going to get get my pen, and you'll see me get all organized, pop the photo over there, because I don't need to be influenced. I like to know names. And I'm a visual person, so I like to see that's just me. But then we don't like to focus on that. We just tune into the energy. That's my link to tune into them, if that makes sense. I also need water. Okay. Wow. First thing I was going to say with lady is pressure on my chest, this area here. Probably heard me cough. I wonder if that had something to do maybe with a heart murmur or something like that, because it felt like it was after my water that happened, just coming through. Okay, and there's also, I'm getting pressure here on my head here. Here and here is where I'm getting some pressure from lady, and shortness of breath. That's what's coming through first for lady. Gosh, I keep hearing that song. Whoa, 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 she's a lady. I wonder if you used to sing that to her. Oh, what's that? Okay. Sorry, guys. I write because it busies my body, and then the energy for me, it's just easier to flow. There's something to do with lady too, something to do with an eye, because I feel like this is coming down into my eye. So I don't know if you were aware there may have been something to do with her eye, but feels like this is connected. That's interesting. All right, lady. Keep writing down the word sad, sad. Why? But it's not her, it's you. You're still sad over this. She does not want you to be sad. I know that's just she doesn't want you to be sad, but it's kind of like she doesn't understand the concept of why you're sad. It's kind of like she celebrates that we had all this time together. Oh, what is that reference? You know that it is a song. It's like the end is near, coming up to. It's Frank Sinatra. I can hear that in my head. Lady knew her end was near, because that's what I keep hearing in my mind from lady. She knew that it was close to the end, and she didn't have a problem with that. There seems to be something to what is it? Is it a flower necklace, a flower, something solid, but it's in the shape of a flower, something to do with lady, whether it's a memorial or it's a photo frame with a flower. There's something to do with that on it. Feels like it's on it that memorializes lady in some way. Sorry, I'm just going to check the chat to see if this makes sense. Otherwise, everyone's just watching me talk to nothing. Okay, so I haven't heard from Janelle. That's okay. And Madam May, we will talk more about it here. Totally fine. Pop your questions through, guys. Okay. With lady, I'm also going in on myself. The energy's going in on myself. What does that mean? It means I didn't want to show it. That's what I'm hearing. I don't want to show it. I didn't want to show it. What is that? There's something to do with the J name as well with lady. Oh, that's your name. No, there's something. It can't be you. J's coming up very strong, but that's the first initial of your name. Is there someone else with a J in your life? It feels like there's something. There's a coincidence or something with the J. It's not just because it's your name. There's something to do with that. What is that? Is it a vet? Is it a something? There's something to do like that, like a laughter. There's a coincidence there. And I'm tapping. You can see I'm tapping. Oh, you probably can't. I'm tapping. It's like, no, she's like, no, this, I'm telling you, it is. Okay. I'm just saying that there's a J name because that's her name. No, I feel like she used to do this too. She used to know when she wanted to do something because she was quite, no. You'd know, almost as if she would tap her foot. What else we got, lady? Okay. Well, Janelle, I'm not sure if you may have seen what I just said about lady? Please let me know in the comments if you're still here and if that makes sense to you. Okay, there's lots of, oh, what's that? No, that's okay. What's going on? Oh, no, there we go. Okay, that makes sense. Justin, that's the other J name, 2 J names. Okay, I'm not sure what the no refers to. That could be the flowers, not sure. But the J name is not just your name, it's Janelle and Justin. There's 2 names with the J. Isn't that interesting? Because as soon as I was getting J, I was like, but her name is J. Lucky. Okay. And also, guys, sometimes if it doesn't come out now, it'll come out later. And I've had this too. I've had a connection. So my sister's a medium, but she does humans. And I've had her say something. I'm like, nope, makes no sense to me. And then, you know, a few months later, I'm like, oh, it does. But that's okay. But Justin, that's really interesting. Okay. There's a question you had here. I feel like I'm actually getting tapped going. She asked a question, you didn't answer it. Okay. Is she happy? Does she know how much she's loved? What's that? As soon as I said that too, I'm getting a reference to inside my mouth and the tongue. So I don't know how that relates. That's something she brought through right now. So that's interesting for her. Okay. When I just put out there, are you happy? And it's almost as if she's like, I spy. Not in a bad way. It's like she comes and she has a look and she wants to see if you're okay. The emphasis is more on you than her. I get that she's very happy and playing a lot. And this, when they bring things like this through, it's because somehow it was affected in life. And so they bring it through. They come through playing. They come through happy because perhaps that was towards the end, they couldn't do that. And so when they bring that through, it's just so you know that they can do that now. And that because that is a happy time in their place, they can do that now. There are no restrictions to that. And as soon as I had heard that, said that, I heard, if I wasn't loved, I wouldn't have stayed. Her words, not mine. She must have had the ability to have a exit point in the time that you owned her, because for her to say something like that, like I wouldn't have stayed if I wasn't loved. She would have left. Animals have this amazing ability of like, they can choose to leave, and she would have chosen to leave. So it's kind of like her, what's that? Almost as if, you know, when you're in a relationship and the other person doesn't say they love you, but it's in response to that, it's kind of like, well, I would leave if I didn't. It's that kind of vibe. Like, it's kind of like, well, I was there, so of course I was loved. That's the only way she could communicate that to you is what I'm getting. So I hope that makes sense. Please let me know. Okay, we've got a few. What's this? Thank you so much for your time and energy. You're very welcome. All right, I've got a few messages here, so I'm going to get to them. I really wish this chat was a bit bigger so I could see it. I don't think it's got anything to do with my eyes, guys. All right, so what question did you have, Rochelle? You said it further up. Maybe I didn't see. Oh, Zena has passed. Okay, I didn't see that because I was a bit late. Sorry, guys. Oh, I had to leave her behind when we separated about 10 years ago. Oh, okay. Even though I was with her person for 6 years, did she think of me? Was it hard on her those last 5 years without me? She was a Jack Russell cross. Hope you and animals are all good with the flooding down there. Thank you. We are all good. Thank goodness. We were cut off, but fine. Okay, Zena, now. This feels like a hard one. And you know, I'm not going to just say all fluff and sunshine just because you know, I'm going to say because you're paying me, but you're not. But I do have a problem with when people do that because you're paying me. So I'm just going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I feel and what I sense from Xena. First of all, love the name. Huge fan of Xena Warrior Princess. And I'm probably sure she had a bit of a personality like that herself. But what I'm getting, though, is the transition was hard and the shock was real. The separation, I feel, did cause some health problems. And I am feeling that, God, I feel so horrible saying it. I feel like a little bit of depression kicked in with her, and also, how do I say? The person kind of just told her to get over it. Just didn't always acknowledge it, but when, it feels horrible energy. In a sense, I felt like this person was glad that it was hurting you. That's horrible. And kind of didn't care too much. Kind of didn't care too much that you couldn't take her. Kind of makes me sick a little bit, to be honest. What I am going to say, sorry guys, I was just going in the timeline of the 5 years. I'm going to say, it feels like to me what I'm getting from Xena is the first 2 years were not great. The third year was not too bad. And the last 2 years, I actually feel like she may have got a little bit of doggy dementia. And I feel like a little bit of, because I'm getting a little bit like this. And it feels like I'm just wandering around. Not that she forgot you, just maybe, you know, people with dementia sometimes just don't really always understand where they are. I'm getting a little bit of that. So I'm just, that's how I'm feeling with Xena. That's how it's coming through in my energy and putting it through. So let me just check the chat. Oh. Right, so Rochelle has written in there that Xena was always by her side. It was so hard. I always think about her. And also, yes, she was used as a weapon till the end. Yes, that's where that gross energy is feeling. So also, too, one thing you're calling back, your feeling is kind of like that suppressed guilt for doing that. I'm laughing because, not because of the situation, I'm laughing because it's kind of like her saying, of course I'm going to choose to go over there. Like Stewie, because one of your questions was about Stewie. It's kind of like, I'm not going there. I'm free from there. I can go here. So like in spirit, I can go here. So in spirit, when you're in spirit, that's where you're going to see. That's where she's chosen to be. They do have a choice, guys. And the reason why I say that is because when my cow, there's a long story around here, when she died, she chose to be with her dog, which was my dog, who actually raised her from a calf. Big story. I won't go into it today. So instead of going back to her cow mum in spirit, she actually chose to stay with her cow dog. And because they were just inseparable. And that was her family. Yes, we're all still connected, but that's who she chose to be with. So the reason why I'm bringing this through for you, I'm getting goosebumps as I say this, is because Xena has the choice. Just because she was there doesn't mean she's going to stay there when, you know, when he go to her, when he's in spirit. She's chosen to stay with you. So that bond doesn't die. So I just hope that that somehow helps with relieving that guilt, I guess would be the word. Not that you need to feel guilty. It's just we are humans and that is exactly what happens though, isn't it? But she now has a choice. And the best thing about now is that she can see and sense and feel and understand why that happened. So she's had her release from it. And so that's why you know, you're able to, you know, if you choose to be able to let that go, because sometimes in life, other people's free choice takes over and we don't have the choice. And so I feel like that's what's happened here. But she has the choice to go with you and be with you, and, you know, you'll see her then. So when you think of her, try to think of the happy times and understand that wasn't your choice what happened, and it wasn't your choice to use her as a weapon against you. So you don't have to take on that responsibility. So I hope that helps. So what else do we have? So Rochelle's written, thank you. I will struggle to swallow when I think of her, and it's sad. But when I was happy when I heard that she had passed. Well, she's free. Poor thing. So much guilt I couldn't stay. I even stole her, but I was made to return her. God, that's so horrible. Well, you don't have to hold on to that anymore, because the thing is, when animals are in spirit, this is how I always describe it, and you've probably seen me do it before. This is the world. This is the way we see the world. We're in here when we're in the world. But when we're in spirit, we see it from all different perspectives. They can see 360 degrees around what happened, why we made the decision, why that other person made the decision, why they don't have any bad feelings towards the other person for what happened, because they can see why they are like that. They have a greater level of forgiveness because they see everything. They can see the full picture. So that's the other thing too. Perhaps also too, there needs to be a level of forgiveness coming through for that. Now, that's your choice. You don't have to, because I can tell you there's a few things in my life I struggle to forgive. Okay, back to, where are we? Camille, where's this beautiful photo? And Kelsey, okay. Oh, Kelsey, come on. Okay, yes. All right, calm down, fireworks. Yes, I can explain that. I feel like doing this too. As soon as I saw that, like, your message, I'm like, so I feel like this is something we're doing. This is how on guard we are. We ever go back to see. Okay. This is a photo of Camille and her papa, and how we can improve her life. Okay, I'm going to go back to that. I actually feel like I need to go to Kelsey at the moment just to explain Odie. Okay, so Odie, fireworks, storms. Let me explain it from his point of view. When these things happen, it's not just, well, actually, there's two different things. There's two different scenarios in your question. Fireworks, storms. Storms are not just the actual event. It's the drop in pressure. I know when a storm's coming before you do. That scares Odie. Why? Because it's, oh my God, where can I hide? Where can I go? It won't go away. It's literally all around me. They feel the energy all around them. They don't even know where it's coming from. I mean, they know the direction of a storm come from. That's why they know where to go, because that's the energy and it pushes them out. But when it's above them and when it's around them and near them, that it's all engulfing, and they can't figure out how to get out of it, get away from it. And it's scary. It is terrifying in their being. And just saying calm down is not going to help. As you know, like with humans, if we're stressed and someone goes, just don't worry about it, just calm down. How well does that happen? Like, it just doesn't. We need to work on that. Fireworks, and I get this, fireworks, guns, backfiring of a car. It is so jarring to the energy. It is so terrifying, because it kicks in their instinct and they just want to run. So you've got two different things equally as terrifying, but two different sort of ways it affects Odie. With Odie, I feel like, though, with the fireworks, it is more of a really big instinct to run more. This one, I feel like I like with storms, I'm kind of like everywhere. Like, if you may see the difference in him, but it's still terrifying for you to watch. it's terrifying for him to go through. So when we're in the storm, things that we can do, we have to sort of, if we can, because it is difficult, because sometimes we don't know when a storm's coming, but he does, make it good. At the moment, it's terrifying. We have to change his perspective about storms, how he's all worked up when it happens. And honestly, when they're at that level, it's very difficult, because it's like teaching a child maths when they're terrified. No different if they're terrified in a storm. You're like, okay, let's go do some maths, when they're just not going to take it in. So we have to try and get him to a point where, before that happens, start making it fun. Start making him do something he loves. And I'm not saying, a lot of people go, well, you can't comfort them when they're in a storm. That's a separate issue. What I'm trying to say is, before he gets to that point, we have to get to him before he gets to that point, to try and bring his body into the happiness vibe. This is good things happen. So we need to start associating it with good, not bad. So when good things happen, when the storm's starting to happen, we start doing tricks, we start playing, we start having something we like doing or eating, and that sort of things. And then if it's thunder and lightning and he is distracted with something good, then, and it happens and it takes his attention, we go, and we can divert his attention back to something good. And eventually, over time, and it will take time, it's not a quick fix, because when you've had a lifetime of being frightened of something, it's not going to take one or two goes to get out of your system. But when we're in that mode and we try and do all these things for him, it's going to slowly kind of desensitize him to it, but then focus on, hang on, only this good stuff happens when a storm happens. So then you'll start realizing he's getting happy when these things happen. Now, that is a transition. You are looking at, it could even be up to a year to do that. But you're going to live that year with him anyway. So let's make it a good one. Let's make it worthwhile for him. Let's make it something that we can work on together. Watch your energy, because he's also going to feed off your energy. If you're scared, he's going to be scared. So we have to bring it down. So that's another thing that we have to watch with that. With let me see, I'm just checking the chat to make sure I'm making sense here. Oh, Kelsey's just written, I hate storms, so that doesn't help. 100% it doesn't help. So you're both going to do it. You're both going to have, okay, and the fireworks almost every night. See, that's illegal where I live. So that kind of peeves me off, to be honest, because we're just not allowed to have that because of the animals and all different reasons. So he's 9. Okay, so Kelsey's written he's 9 years old. So 9 years old of having that is a lot. So it's going to take time to change that in him. And the fact that you're scared of storms doesn't help. But let's look at the positive. The positive is you're both going to be working on each other together. So you're both going to get help. God, that sounds bad. I don't mean it like that. It's just you're both going to be working on that, because when you start to change your perspective as well about storms, it's going to help him. Because when you're in charge, he will feel in charge. He will feel like, that's okay. If you're not worried, I'm not worried. Like, just think of it like a little child. And it's difficult when you're the adult and you have to be in control of the situation, but you yourself are thinking, how am I going to do this? So we need to get you doing something that you associate with good during storms. And that could be just bonding with him, just doing some games with him. Meds, if you don't get his meds to him on the exact time, because I've had a dog that's been scared of storms, and if you don't get that med at that, that opportunity, that little window of opportunity, it's going to do nothing. And in fact, it's probably going to kick in after the storm anyway. So it is good if you can get it in that window of time to then bring him down to help change his thought patterns around it. But it can be really difficult. So, and then every time there's something with the fireworks that's really scary or bad, we have to associate that with good. So I probably don't even have enough time to really cover this whole subject. So I'm going to look at the chat and just see what other questions we have, and then if I have time, I'm going to go back to it. But to answer your question, we have to somehow associate those with good things, and it's going to take time to change. And your energy has to be in the right energy field as well to help him. But by helping him, you're going to help you. By helping you, you're going to help him. So there you go. I hope that helps. So they are illegal too, except July 3rd and 4th, but people don't care and law enforcement don't do anything. You know what? In the days of silent fireworks, why are we all not using that? You know, I'll never understand. It's just so much better for not even just people's pets, the wildlife, everything. Okay. Sorry, guys. Little tangent. Those things make me really mad. Camille and Anthea. I love that name, by the way. Washi, any messages for you? Washi, if you have a question that you want me to answer about a pet, please pop it in the chat. So everyone that's watching on the platform or on the network, please pop over to thespiritrealm.net, join the chat, and leave your message in the chat, because I feel like I tend to sort of focus on if someone has a question and then I don't get any other questions, I'll just keep connecting and talking to them about their pets. So the more questions, the more people that interact, the more readings that are going to get done. Let me see. I feel like I've missed one, guys. What have I missed? Oh, I know it is. Thanks, Meme. It's Camille and her dog Anthea. I literally just said it before. Anthea's. Okay. I feel like Camille can actually be really helpful with Anthea, because I feel like Camille is a little animal communicator herself. Oh my God, you guys are so cool looking together. Okay. So, Camille, you talk to your dog anyway. I don't know, so I say anyway? No. Sorry, Kelsey just said same. I hate fireworks too. Okay, we need to work on both of you. I'll circle back to that if we have time. Anthea. Okay, one phrase I just heard from Anthea is people expect more of me. People expect more of me than I can give. What does that relate to? I feel like we have a few triggers with Anthea, because I feel like I'm pulling back a little. I feel like, you know, is it words? Something that's up. What is that? It's like something said something to me and it's kind of like I just need to pull back. But I actually feel like Camille's the one that goes up to Anthea and sort of sits and communicates and I feel like talks as well, like actually talks. And I feel like Camille's getting the answers back as well. It's kind of like you guys have this little connection where you know when Anthea's not feeling right. You know when, not even if you can put it into words, but you know how your pet is feeling. You know when this overwhelming feeling happens, or this little bit of I don't know what to do feeling. Like you can actually feel that, and you go and comfort Anthea. Does Anthea come up? I feel, okay, I'm seeing this now. I feel like I'm in my room, and then all of a sudden Anthea just pops on in and pops her head around and comes on in and kind of like, almost as if she's coming in saying you called. Now, I'm going to check the chat. I want to know if you do that, whether you think of her and she comes. Because I have a feeling that she answers your thoughts, which I love. And this, again, is where kids, oh, my God, kids and animals have this spiritual connection. I have a feeling that Camille can call Anthea with her thoughts. It's just something that's coming through really, really strong for Camille and Anthea. You know, I'm getting that Camille actually advocates for Anthea anyway. Kind of like says things like, no, she doesn't like that. Or she wants this. Because I actually feel like she does know. Do you know what? This is what I'm going to suggest for Camille and Anthea. I feel like when mum wants to know something, ask Camille to ask Anthea, because you're going to get responses like, she doesn't like that, she wants this, she wants that, she wants to be left alone at sometimes. I have a feeling that she wants to actually talk to Camille. And I have this thing, as soon as I say that, I have this thing, is there something to do with food with Anthea? Because I feel like I need to pull back at that when I'm thinking of food. I feel like I just need to pull back and give space for that. I feel like that's something that I'm very aware of. Anyway, does that make sense? Sorry, guys. I'm just having a little look at what I could see. Oh, Jennifer says yes, and Camille's mama says yes, she does. Okay, so Camille's mama and Madame May's mama, what you have there is a little animal communicator. And the reason I say that is because she's doing exactly what I used to do when I was a child. And one thing that I wish I had as a child, and it's not anyone's fault, where's that chat gone? My parents didn't understand, and they didn't know how to deal with children that had abilities. And sometimes children feel awkward about that, and then they shut their abilities down. So Anthea will take Camille's food. Okay, so and I feel like, it's funny. I mean, I shouldn't laugh because food and animals and kids can be a very sensitive topic, but I don't know. I just feel like they have this connection. So one thing I would do is encourage her. We may not understand it. My mum didn't understand it, although my mum herself is a medium, but she's scared of it, refuses to accept it. But boy, oh boy, can she pick when someone's pregnant and when someone's lying. And she's anyway. So the reason why I say this is to help. This is how you're going to help your dog Anthea, like Camille. You may not always understand what Camille is saying when it comes to the dog, because she may say something so left field and you'd be like, what? But you can guarantee that's exactly what Anthea has communicated to Camille. So one thing I would do is encourage it. Ask her, hey, Camille, can you ask Anthea what she feels about this? Start doing it with things that you know the answer to. Food, indoor, outdoor, those sorts of things. Because you're going to know the answer and she's going to nail it. And then, so when you have confidence in that and she starts to get confidence. So Camille, if you're listening, when you start to gain confidence and really understand that you are actually hearing these pets, you're getting it, whether it's thought, I actually think you hear it in your head. Because that's how I used to hear it as a child as well. And you just know. There's that knowing and the hearing. That's what I feel like you're strongest at. So then encourage that. Allow it to happen. Don't ever feel like, so Camille, you are watching, I feel like, because I feel like Mama's tapping me again. Don't ever feel that you're different. You're actually special. And the animals have picked you. So never, ever shut that down and just embrace those abilities. There you go. I know that was quite long-winded, but that's what's coming through for Anthea. Okay, what's this? Will Anthea send her pictures or words or sensations? And that is a really good question. I do have a feeling for Camille. She can connect. She actually talks to Anthea. And when I don't mean with her mouth, I mean they I guess telepathically talk. They send thoughts constantly. It's not even Camille doesn't even have to think that she's think about it. It's just is. And that's the wonderful thing with kids and animals. It just is. It's like she's talking to you. She's talking to the dog. So she'll just say things, no, mummy, she doesn't like that, or she likes that, or I don't think she doesn't, she can just feel it in her body. So it'll be sensations, it'll be words, thoughts. She may see something not without realizing she can see it, because a lot of people, when you say, I see, they go, how do you see? And the only way I can answer that question is, have you ever relayed a memory to someone and you were looking at it while you were saying it? That's how we see. And that's how she will see as well. So everyone's getting a whole lesson here on animal communication. So you can do this with your own animals. So Camille's mama. Yes, thank you. I've suspected that she is speaking with her. Yes, she is. There you go. There you go. I love that. Please encourage that, because it's really, really difficult, because I shut it down in my teens and 20s, and I didn't really pick it up again until I was in my 30s, and now I'm in my 40s. And so it actually takes a lot more effort and energy when you're an adult and you shut wrong. I shouldn't do it. People think I'm crazy. People laugh at me. And as an adult, it's harder to get rid of those thoughts. But as a child, it's like, but it just is. I talk to this dog. It talks back to me. Like, I don't have to think about it. It just happens. So there you go, guys. Oh, just so you know, it's 11:11 where I am. I don't know what the time is where you are, because clearly I messed up the time. So, guys, what's this? Okay, so everyone who's looking on the chat, spiritrealm.net, look at the chat if you can, because Rochelle has placed some photos of Stewie in the sky, cans in the new Chanel bag. Oh, I love that. Oh, I see. That's so interesting. Rochelle gets all these signs and all these like things from spirit, because Rochelle is a psychic medium. So she gets them and she understands them and she can capture them. So special birthday visit from Stewie. There you go. He is a good boy. He is a good boy. I'm just going to have a look back to see if I've missed any questions. Oh, sorry. I said I'd circle back to you, Kelsey. Oh, hang on, Jean. Someone's message. Did you see Chubbs at the top of the chat? No, I did not, and I don't want to miss you. So let me, go back. I'm going to go back and see. And if I cannot find it, please pop it again, because I don't want to miss anyone. Oh, I need a drink of water. That's your May. All right, hang on. Oh, here we are. Chubbs, how is his health? Chubbs. Got to say, a little bit of a fan of that name. All right, Chubbs. Do you know what? Since I'm getting that, I'm getting itchy underneath. So in accordance with Chubbs' body, that would be here, front. Like these would be my front legs. Obviously, my legs, back legs would be his back legs. I'm getting a little bit itchy there. So a little bit of a skin irritation there. I don't know whether that's a hot spot or something. Let me have a look. Where are we? You've got a character in your hands. Skin there, knee. Something to do with a knee as well. Also itchy back leg. It's funny, as I'm connecting, I'm getting all these little dots, pops. And I'm so sorry I missed your original message, and I'm so glad you said something so I can not miss Chubbs. Why am I sneezing? Why would I get this feeling I want to sneeze? Does Chubbs have an allergy or something? Or there's something to do with sneezing coming through? I don't know. I just feel like I need to do that. I'm rubbing my nose, although I'm not actually sneezing. I'm feeling like I need to sneeze. Oh. What's going on with his ear? It's so funny, guys, because when I connect, this is what they put on me. The way I feel it is what they're feeling in their body. Sometimes we recognize it, sometimes we don't know until it's been pointed out. And this doesn't mean it's just you guys, it's me too. Sometimes I'll miss it and they'll go like, but I've been putting that on you for ages. How could you miss it? So we're not alone. Let me see. Chubbs, there he is. Thank you. Thank you. You popped at that. Yes, Annette, I agree. He has a very cute face. Okay. I wonder if that's made sense from what I've said. Also, one thing that I'm getting with Chubbs, and this is very odd, I don't feel this very often with pets, is a sore throat. Back at the throat. For me, it feels like, you know, when you've had a cold and you get that sore throat. That's what I'm feeling is happening in Chubbs' mouth. Sorry, I say mouth, but it's more here, neck, mouth area. Possibly, so I'm getting the word inflammation, but I'm feeling it there. And that could be where this is coming from. You know, the feeling like I needed to sneeze. That's what I feel. Let me see if you've made a comment on that. You can't hear me? Oh, okay, now, okay. Okay. So what I mentioned, so I'm not sure if you heard this part or not. So what I was mentioning was, because I've written it down, thank goodness, skin. I was getting a little bit of skin irritation here on me, which would relate to Chubbs's area there. Itchy on the back leg, something to do with the knee. Feel like I needed to sneeze, but I'm not actually sneezing because you can see me rubbing my nose. And the other thing is sore throat. I'm getting a sore throat from Chubbs. And I saw the word inflammation. So that's what I'm feeling. That is he wanting to bring forward most in his energy today. So how does that relate? Interesting. Why am I getting... Do you plan on going on a trip or something? The reason why I'm saying that is because he's showing me like he's got bags. Kind of like, oh, let's go. Let's go. We're going to do something. Like it's very normal to him. Okay. All right. So nothing in the chat just yet, but that's okay. Just let me know when you... if that makes sense to you. Oh, I really need to drink that water now. Really something that is happening with Chubbs as well, because I haven't had that much water, but all of a sudden I'm needing water. Oh, he has diabetes. Oh, the ear. That was the other thing, the ear. Has diabetes and his blood sugar has been low. Okay. That'll be why the water is too. Interesting. All right. What is that? He keeps making a reference of needing to go somewhere, or it's like you're taking him somewhere. We're going out, we're doing something. Are you taking him somewhere else that he needs his suitcases for? It feels like I'm going somewhere for, it feels like a period of time. Why is that happening? Maybe there's a plan to do that. Maybe that's what it is, because it's kind of like, well, that's what we're going to do. Pick up and go. Not planning on it. Interesting. One thing with him, though, is really focus on, I don't even know if this relates, but it feels like focusing on gut health with him, which is a big thing for a lot of pets. Okay. And maybe relating to testing is what I'm getting. I'm drawing arrows down. Maybe that's in the direction of from your house where you need to go. I do feel like I keep coming back to this inflammation though. So I actually don't know what diabetes does to a pet or a person, to be honest. But he keeps referring me back to that. And this is actually really annoying me. So I feel like this is something that's coming through from him a lot. So I don't know how that relates, but it could be something to do with inflammation in the throat area. That's his main concern. I know you said that his blood sugar levels are low, but for me, that's where I'm feeling my attention is drawn today, very much so. So let's see if that makes sense. Yeah, maybe the vet. I wonder if you are, and you may need some testing, and that could be what he's sort of referring to. Again, guys, please, I'm not a vet. Don't take medical advice from me. I can only tell you what's going on, what the animal tells me they feel in their body. You may agree with me, you may not, and that's okay, but that's just what the animal's telling me. So it may be that you may end up getting further testing soon to make sure that's okay, and that could be what he's referring to. It could be just something that he's oh, okay, I will have the vet check him out. Maybe the inflammation is causing low blood sugar. Yeah, it just feels like just a little tune up. That's what I'm going to say, a little tune up. But apart from that, I actually think he's got a really good life. Like a little car service, you know, that's because I see driving into like a mechanic, getting car service and then driving out again. That's what I feel like. It's possibly just going to be a little tune up and check. So there you go. So you're very welcome, Jean. I'm actually probably going to have to leave it there. So I'm glad that we got Chubbs in. I didn't want to miss anyone. And Kelsey, join me next week. I'm going to be on time next week. So for all my Australian viewers, that is 10 a.m. now. But for all my US, I was going to say Pacific then, my USA viewers, I will be back next week. It will be 8 p.m. Eastern time, not 8:20 Eastern time. And it will be Thursday, the 20th of March is when I will be back with my show. So thank you everyone who's interacted. Thank you everyone for sticking with me during the, time zone difference. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for interacting. We've got a new animal communicator in our midst with Camille. What a great thing for the animals, really. Being the voice of the animals is I find it so amazing. But yes, everyone, I'm going to have to leave it there because I've already gone a little bit over. But thank you again. And please join me next week on the Spirit Realm Network at spiritrealm.net. And I will see you guys then. Thanks again, guys, for joining.